All right, I am now live, and I'm waiting for Radwa. She's going to be our guest. We worked it out for this week, and I'm really excited. Okay, so let me. There we go. Okay. Hi, Holly. How's it going? Oh, hi, Delmy. I missed you so much. All right, we're just waiting for Radwa to jump on. I'm super excited that she gets to be my guest this week because she's just such an incredible human being, and she is the co-founder and director of Create a Smile, which is a foundation that was started in honor of her son ZEIN. I'll have her tell you more about it when she gets here. And she's also written a book that has become a bestseller in Egypt, and it was written in Arabic, and she's working on the English translation, hopefully getting it published soon. And she's just an incredible cancer mom extraordinaire, so I'm really excited to have her on today. So hopefully she will be joining us here in just a minute. So let me see if I can add her. Hi, Jenny. Okay, let's see. I don't see her yet. Maybe somebody can tag her. Oh, the dogs are barking. So let's see. I'll tag her in a comment. Let's see. Radwa. Still not working. Okay. Well, we'll still wait for her. But in the meantime, let's just say hi. Hopefully your week's been okay. Hi, Craig. It's been kind of a busier week here at this house, and I'm tired, guys. I'm so tired. This has been a tough journey, and I know that I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky we have a home, we have grocery delivery, we have, running water, we have all of these things, but man, it still comes with its challenges, and I'm tired. Oh, hi, Carrie. Hi, Lori. How's it going? Hopefully Radwa's going to join us here in a second. She's going to be my guest. Let's see, maybe Holly. I don't know if you have her number. Maybe you can text her for me and let her know I'm here, or let's see. I'll send it to her. Let's see. Radwa. There we go. Sent. All right. Hopefully she'll join us here in a second. But tell me how your week is going, guys. This week for me, I've been able to get more done, which is good, and we kind of got in a routine with school, but I'm burnt out, and I think it didn't help that I'm in the middle of menstruating, and so I'm really exhausted and stuff too, but this has just been no joke for sure. And I'm finding that I'm having a hard time making time for myself and self-care and things that are things that are important for us. Oh, hi, Mikey. How's it going? Nice to see you again. I know your name's not Mikey, but I like that your Mikey tag on there. All right, so we're still waiting for Radwa. But tell me in the comments, how's your week been? And kind of what you're up to today, and also what you kind of want to see from these lives. This is a new thing for us, and I'm finding my groove, and I love doing it. I love talking to other humans and seeing how they're doing. Oh, yay! Okay, she's here. Okay. Here we go. Okay, 15-minute naps. Yes, me too. Craig says we're all still off back here in Michigan. Same.
Hi.
Hey, she's here. Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm sorry, I was setting it up. I was setting up my phone so it doesn't fall. Hi.
I know.
How are you?
I'm fine. I know I have my thing set up, and it still falls. So we may end up seeing the floor at the end of the interview, but
I'm wearing real pants today, so that's fine. I'm wearing actual pants today,
I know.
So that's okay. How are you?
It was I'm okay. I was just telling everybody I'm really tired. And I agree with you. I put clothes on today, and I think that's a win. I was in pajamas and unshowered. I showered today. I blow dried my hair today.
That's big.
Didn't get as far as makeup, but I don't care. I'm cool with it because
that's big.
I'm learning more about myself and realizing that it's okay to not have to wear makeup every day, So
yeah, true that.
I'm trying. Okay, so now that you're here, I'm really excited that you're here.
Me
I've
too.
missed you. I love seeing your face. I love that we get to spend some time together. But what I'm most excited about is just sharing how special you are with whoever decides to watch this, because
Oh,
you are incredible and I love you, and I'm so excited for other people to know you and love you.
I love you too. Thank you so much. You're gonna make me cry, girl. Thank you. Thank you. That's so sweet of you, Lauren. Thank you. You know how much I love you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yes. Holly says we're winning at life, showered and dressed. I
Yes.
say yes. Okay, so as we get started, I want you to just tell whoever chooses to watch this a little bit about yourself and kind of what you're doing with your life and your story, as succinct as you possibly can. You're a good writer, so I know you can do it.
Yeah, I know. Every time I'm asked that question, I try to think like, how can I summarize this whole thing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my name is Radwa-Moussa-Youssef, and I was honored to meet this beautiful lady, you, in not the best circumstances, but I'm very grateful on how we both got together. I have 3 kids. My oldest is ZEIN. He's a cancer survivor, and that's how we were both introduced to this whole crazy cancer world. Um, I work as a transaction coordinator with my husband. I run a TC business for our real estate office. I also am program director for a nonprofit organization that I co-founded with my sister-in-law, Shireen, 6.5 years ago. Oh my God, it's been six and a
Wow.
half years ago. Um, and it's mainly aiming to help kids with cancer. And recently, I've always had a passion for writing. So recently, I have published my book in 2019 about our story, and I can't wait for the English copy to come out. So that's me in a nutshell.
Yay. I know I was telling people about that before you came on, about how you've become a bestseller in Egypt, and
It was.
that
I'm sorry.
we are all.
We got
Go
disconnected for a
ahead.
second. My brother was calling me
Oh,
from
okay.
Egypt. But yes, it made bestseller in Egypt. I was very, very honored for my book to be picked by one of the best publishing houses over there. And I launched it in 2019. There's a huge book fair called the Arab actually book fair, and it's like it has all the books around the Arab world, and it gives amazing exposure. So I'm very, very honored, and I'm very happy that the book found its way for other people, because it's mainly aiming, and I told you, but it's mainly aiming to tell people that even with a strong and a sad word like cancer, we can still talk
Mm,
about it, and we can still have a life, and we can still use the lessons that we've learned to apply it in so many other difficulties that we have in our life. So
yes.
I originally wrote it in English, and then when I contracted with the publishing house, we made the decision that it should come out in Arabic first. And my English manuscript is ready, and I can't wait for it to come out. So hopefully 2020. I mean, this pandemic kind of threw everybody off, but it's
Yes.
happening. It's happening soon.
Yeah. So tell everybody a little bit about the book. Since I know you personally, I know so much, but
Yeah.
I know that it's a lot about your journey with childhood cancer and your son Zane. But what is it truly about?
You know what? Our cancer, and yeah, and I keep saying, yeah, you know what, and I know you know everything, but you know, the
Mm-hmm.
story that we've had in our journey is pretty unique in my mind. I think one cancer is enough for any family to just kind of shake the boat and put everything into
Yes.
perspective. We were chosen for 4 different cancers throughout 7 years. So he was diagnosed at 5.5 years old, and then throughout one remission after the other, one cancer after the other. His last cancer was when he was 11 years old.
Mm.
Throughout this journey, I mean, beyond and bigger than the idea of cancer itself, we've seen ourselves grow as people, as humans, as parents. I saw myself grow as a friend, and as a mother, and as a sister, and as a daughter, and a wife. And I felt that there's so many lessons that we were chosen to see through this
Yes.
journey. And it's such a shame that people would learn things and not share with others. And, you know, I
Yeah.
know everybody's tested in a way, and maybe some would not think their test is as big as cancer, but they can still learn it from it and apply it.
Yes.
And I look at other people, and we've had this conversation, but I've seen, I mean, throughout our journey, we were a children's hospital where there's so many different diagnoses. And in very, very dark days when I thought I've had it the hardest, and it was really hard, I wasn't undermining it, but I've seen other diagnoses that was even harder. And it kind of puts things into perspective, is that we're not alone. We should not be alone. We should be sharing what we've learned in this world, and we should be there for one another. No judgment, no questions asked, just love, just being there for each other. So that was the goal of the book, honestly, is just how to live amidst all the hardships and how to still find joy in living and how to always choose joy.
Yes, choosing joy, I find, is one of the hardest things in life, but is the most important, because it is what we do with our trials and our struggles and the things that we learn from it that make us who we are. And I'm in the middle of something, so if you need something, you're going to have to wait. I'm on a live interview right now.
The life of a mother, everyone.
I understand it's for school. I understand it's for school. Micah, Hi, you have to leave. You need to close the door, and I will take care of whatever it is when I'm done.
And for everyone watching,
this is my time.
Now, this is the life of a mother. This is as raw as this can get. I had to put my toddler to sleep.
Micah, I can't even listen to anything you're saying right now because I need to do this. This is my job right now. Okay, so yes, for anybody watching, this is what we're trying to do in the life.
It's very raw. This is how we are, and I've seen Lauren. I mean, just to bring some perspective into this, and people who just joined, I don't know if you've been here for a couple minutes, but as we were in the middle of a very deep conversation, our kids walked in, and this is what happens. We just know how to push through, and we just know how to continue. I think we've learned to navigate distractions in a much bigger way, and to still find a way for us to focus on us, on our personalities, on our personal growth, on what makes us happy. Where do we find joy? Even if that means that I need to kind of literally lock myself in my office and put a big bed outside and dedicate time for everyone in the family. But that's life, you know? We just have to choose joy. Hey, Micah.
Close the door all the way. All the way. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Radwa, because that's something I actually wanted to talk to you about, because that's been a part of our friendship so much, is encouraging one another to make space for ourselves, even in the hardest of times, because caring for ourselves, finding where your joys and passions are, finding out who you are, and being okay with who you are, and then sharing that with the people you love will bring so much more joy to your life. And I didn't even realize that until I started going through this process with Hazel. And I mean, I've been writing a book too, for any of you watching that don't know my story. I've also been writing a book about all of the things that being a parent to a child who had cancer has taught me, and how it's made me a better person, and what it's really taught me what it means to truly live. And I think you and I have forged a friendship in the middle of all of that, and it's really taught us what friendship really is. I've said this to you before, that I don't think I truly understood what friendship was until I met you and other cancer moms. And not to say that any of my other friendships were less than, but like I didn't understand how deep friendships could really go until.
And it's very, very important in our life. I mean, I think we struggle with kind of where the placement for people in our lives are, especially when we're going through a hardship. When in reality, honestly, each one in our life, each one chosen to be in our life. Because that's another point that we've talked about and want to talk about it, plays a role. So whether it's a friend, it's a family member, it's a neighbor, it's a teacher, they all play a role, and it's on us to kind of allow this outpouring of love to come in and for us to embrace it, because we're always in control, and it's a matter of no, I'm in control, I don't need this, I don't want this, I know what I'm doing well. In fact, it's okay for us to say, I'm really not okay today. And in order, but my goal is to be okay. I want to be okay for myself, for my kids, for my family. In order for me to be okay, I need to make choices. And maybe some of these choices would be, who do I want to be around? And who do I want them to be in my circle? Even if they are close people, they're expected to be there. But if they're not giving me the energy that I need, and they're not adding to my growth and what I need in this phase of my life, then I have to make the right choices for myself. It's just,
Yes.
it's not, nobody needs that extra pressure, especially if we're going through a bigger trauma like the ones that we've been through.
Yes. So that kind of leads me to our topic for today. I've been wanting to interview different people during this pandemic to talk about how it's really affected you and also how you've learned to cope. And were there things that you learned in cancer treatment that has applied to now? Because I think so much of what we have learned through going through cancer with our children has played out during this pandemic for me and has helped me through this. And I think so many people who've never had to face a trauma or a crisis like this could really learn from the lessons we've learned. And like you said, sharing that is just so important so we can help lift each other up and just be kind to one another.
Absolutely.
So what things have you felt like have been the most similar and have you've been able to take the lessons you've learned from cancer and apply it to today?
Well, you know, the isolation or the isolated life was not new to us because of the obvious. I mean, when you have a sick kid, you're constantly, your life revolves around this sick kid. And then unfortunately, the siblings are in the same thing or the same boat. So living isolated was not that different or new to us. I think obviously the obvious is that I was always, whenever things get, because let's just be real, this pandemic is not the most fun. So just put this out there. So there are tons of lessons that we've learned, but there will be some moments when it's hard or it's difficult. And I think what puts things into perspective is that all my kids are healthy. And I just cannot, like my heart goes to all the parents who are now at the hospital going through what we've been through years ago. Because if I had to go through this with a pandemic, I don't even know. So this is on itself is a huge blessing, but definitely coping with changes. I mean, the first lesson that we taught our kids and we had to kind of be super flexible with is that things change in a blink of an eye. So we can come back home tonight after a long session of chemotherapy and we have amazing plans for ourselves as a family tomorrow, and all it takes is a strike of a fever at night and our life is different again. And I personally think, as harsh as this was a lesson for my kids at that age, 5 and 6 years old, but it's a very, very important lesson that we take it with us. So when a pandemic comes, or when whatever is happening, any crisis, we're cool. Oh, okay, well, that's a bummer. I mean, yeah, let's just take a moment to adjust, but it's not the end of the world. It's fine. We can address our emotions because there's a very, very fine line between saying I'm okay when you're really not okay and you're not addressing what you're going through, and between acknowledging it but not allowing yourself to drown into it.
And be controlled by your emotions.
Exactly. And that's the fine balance that we are constantly, you know, balancing.
And and I'm certainly not perfect at it, for sure.
Nobody is. I don't think anybody is. I think it's so much easier said than done. But it's also always like a constant perspective and reminder of, okay, it's not the end of the world, but it really sucks. But it sucks, but I'm not going to allow it to kind of take me down. So it's the balance for that. But some of the things that I actually took from my cancer life that helped me with pandemic was indoor time. How can we make indoor time fun? Because God knows we've been stuck in indoor rooms for so long. And we've had racquetball. I remember with ZEIN at some point when he was attached to all those like IVs and stuff. We played racquetball with a surgeon glove that we had to blow up like a ball, and two plastic plates, and I think there were like popsicle sticks or something, and we created rackets and a ball and stuff. So you get creative, and it's another lesson for our kids too, that as much as it sucks that you're not around your friend and you're not getting the childhood experience that you deserve, and you're not getting the experience that we all should be doing, like the social interaction, but it's not the end of the world, and you need to figure what you have over here and make it happen. And it's just, don't whine about your toys and your outings and this, because others have it harder, and we're all in this together. So we just have to push through.
So Radwa, for those people, myself included, that are struggling in not allowing the circumstances to dictate your emotions. Because for me, that's always been my battle. I've had depression my entire life, and it's so easy to focus on the negatives, right? It's so
Yeah.
much harder to choose joy. It's so much harder to see the bigger picture. It's so much easier to say, I don't want to get out of bed today. I just want to be sad. And I think that it's good to honor all of the emotions, but when one becomes all consuming, that's where the problems happen. Even if it's a good emotion, like if you're just so much in denial and always choosing joy and not acknowledging that the stuff is hard, that's also a problem. But what do you say to those people who are really struggling right now, where it's so much easier to sit in all the negative emotions, all the fears about this coronavirus? Because I think that you've done a remarkable job, you and your family. I don't know what tools you use, but you have this ability where you're able to kind of see outside of it for a minute and go, you know what? Yeah, we have had 4 cancer diagnoses, but yet we're still going to laugh, So what do you say to people like that? How do you encourage them?
I think first off is that my first thing would be you're not alone, and there's no shame
Yes.
of feeling that you cannot pull yourself out of this hole, and especially when you see others handling it better than you are, it kind of makes you feel like, what am I doing wrong, or I'm not as strong as them, which in
Yes.
reality it isn't, because we're all have our own characters and personalities and traumas and experiences, and we've all been built for different things in our life. You brought up a really good point, which is how everybody, like, there are some people and they drive me crazy. They're on social media where everything is like so happy, and there's like joy is so easy, and all the posts are beautiful. That's that's not toxic positivity for me, because no one is happy all the time.
Yes.
Let's be real. I see a huge awareness in how people are now being raw and kind of attracted to real a little bit more. So I think keep it real for yourself, and kind of, before you pressure yourself on how I'm struggling to get out of this, how about you take care of you a little bit more?
Yes.
It's a matter of, honestly, it's a balanced act. I keep always saying, I'm very blessed to have people sending me positive notes a lot and telling me, oh, you're strong, you're great, you're this, you're that, but I never allow my ear to hear it the way, I don't know if that makes any sense. I never allow my ear to hear it, to embrace it, that it affects me, to believe of, oh, how good I am or how strong I am. I constantly saying that, take it as a reminder that God is doing his job.
Yes.
And that my family are all together and we're being supported.
Yes.
That I've been blessed by a good husband who's supporting me. That God, like, it's a balanced act, that it's a reminder that nobody can do it alone. And if I am the result of a final result, like a post or a picture or an article or a book that I read, I constantly stress that I didn't come to this point alone. I came to this point because of hardships that I've been through, and a father who raised me through different things, about a husband who stood by my side, about my faith in God. So I think just take it easy on yourself, because it's hard as it is, and take care of you. And the more you fill that bucket of self-love and self-care, it's amazing how you will be able to nourish and kind of stand on your own and fight a little stronger.
Yes.
That's what it is, honestly.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
Take it easy, and don't be so harsh on yourself, and maybe find the little tools. You were saying about tools. So our tools, honestly, is super simple. Like, everybody that, like, my family knows, all my family know us, like the loudest group. Like, oh my God, the Youssef just walked in. Nobody can hear no one.
Yep.
We're all so loud. We just love to be surrounded by positivity. I think it was actually a struggle, Lauren, to understand that having not so positive feelings around us all the time is actually okay. But it was after the battle was done, when we were allowed to let it in and be able to navigate. So I think it's also knowing, where am I in life, and am I in a point where I can actually look clearly, or am I already going through so much and I shouldn't add to my bucket? I should just survive this.
Yes.
I'll tell you, my goal
I think that's, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was going to say, my goal with my kids in this pandemic, I swear to God, the first week when I saw all the moms, I even posted on my personal Facebook, remember? Everybody is freaking out and struggling with this homeschooling and everything. And I sat back and I'm like, nope, not doing it. Nope. I
You're like, I've already done enough, people. I've already done enough.
That's a battle that I'm not gonna take, and then nobody's gonna shame me for it.
Yes.
I just need to survive this. I have a 4-year-old with me, and I have 2 preteens. There's so many hormones and tantrums happening.
Same. Oh my gosh, same. Oh.
So I was like, nope, you know what, kids? You got this. This trimester, don't care about the grades. Have a good time, have a good experience, and let's just all survive this together.
Yes.
Thanks to the teachers. I'll stay in touch with them. I'll step in if they need me, but I am not sitting finding curriculum and understanding and explaining.
Like, I'm just not doing it.
Nope, this mom is not built for that one, and especially in a pandemic. So that was a choice.
Yeah.
And that was a choice that I made because I knew my capacity. I knew what I can do. And I figured, you know what? I'm not adding to my bucket. My goal is to stay sane. And to stay sane, I don't want it to affect my relationship with my kids. So if sitting down and explaining Common Core is important, not in my book.
I'm really glad you said that because, you know, it's something I've thought about a lot, and it's something that I'm even learning now, is now that I'm outside of the cancer journey and I'm a little bit more removed even from losing a child, I'm able to look back and go, okay, what are the things that I need to take from this? What are the lessons that I need to learn? What are the things I need to give my children? And it's so hard to do that while you're in the middle of that. And I'm the type of person, because I have perfectionism tendencies and because I have shame, I think I need to be more than I am in that moment. I need to be a better mom. I need to be cooking better. I need to be spending more time with the kids. I need to be, you know, grieving differently than I am now. And I think the one thing that I would encourage people, especially in times of crisis, is recognizing that it is a time of crisis and that it's okay to not know everything and to not be perfect at everything. It's okay to not know what you're supposed to be learning. You can just let that go and focus on surviving, when that includes taking care of yourself, because you have to put that oxygen on first before you can take care of other people. And then choosing joy and being mindful of your relationships, of the relationship with your spouse, your children, yourself, with social media, with any sort of thing in your life. Be mindful of what your relationships are like. And then once the crisis starts to settle, once the dust begins to fall, you can start to go, okay, I need to pick myself up. I need to look back and go, what am I supposed to learn from this? Like, I feel like I am still learning so much from Hazel, even though she's not physically here anymore, but she's still teaching me something every day. And part of that is honoring the thing that makes me happy. And part of what makes me happy is connecting to other humans and learning and becoming better and becoming a better version of myself than I was yesterday.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's why I like these interviews, because
but you also have to remember that that's a choice that you made. So you have to pat yourself on the back and say, that's a choice that I made. Because, and in a second, and just kind of tell everyone, for someone who has 5 kids and one of them is no longer with us after a very, very tough journey, it's so easy, and nobody would have shamed you to say, I'm done. I just cannot do this anymore. I need to be taken care of. But that's a choice that you made. The choice that you made is, now I'm sitting down and reflecting, and it's a healthy thing. Is that, one, I'm making a choice that even though she's no longer with us, I'm still learning. And this is honestly, if you think about it, it's the mindset of role models. So we've all been, resharing quotes and posts and from favorite authors or favorite people. It's because we look up to them and there's something that we've learned, even long have they passed. Now, you're lucky your role model is your own kid, and that's a choice that you made. Versus that saying, this is so hard for me, I cannot deal with this. But you're still finding the joy in the middle of hardship. And it's not an easy task. But then again, it brings us to what we're saying is, everybody has their own battle. Everybody has their own time. Prioritize. I can't stress enough on this. What's important? What am I going through right now? And what's really important right now? And then who's important? Who is my number one priority? Is it the friend that I haven't been getting back to their calls and I'm afraid they're going to be upset with me? Or is it the family member that I've been dropping off food and I've been so bad that I don't have a moment to say thank you? Or is it my husband, the person that's sharing the life with me, and myself, finding me in the middle of all this? So prioritizing is definitely something that we've learned from this whole trauma. There's so many personal goals that were put on hold, so many family goals that were put on hold because there was a priority in front of us, which is fighting that disease or saving my child's life or doing this or doing that. Then fast forward, your goals are changing and your priorities are changing accordingly. And people are gonna, and we've talked about this, people are gonna come and go throughout this process. Some people come for a season and for a reason and to stay. We've said this before, but people who are coming for a season, that's thank you that you came for a season, you added, you took away, and you left. And you come for a reason to teach me something, or you come to stay in no matter what I'm going through in my life. So I applaud you for verbalizing what you're going through and for understanding that mental health and mental wellness is so important. And if there's anything that I want people to take from this conversation is everybody is dealing with things differently, and we can both be okay, both be so okay, even though I'm dressed up in colors from head to toe and I'm dancing outside and you're crying in your room, but we're still both okay.
Yes.
And we're dealing with it. And we just need to lift each other up and be there for one another. This is just what humanity is all about, honestly.
Yeah, meeting one another where the other person is at, I think is so key. And I think the biggest word that I've been trying to hang on to is balance. Is that on the days where I am really struggling, because there are many days where the pain of Hazel's loss is so great, or the stress of this pandemic and homeschooling and raising 4 kids, or the way the dishes pile up and I can't get a hold of it, or not knowing where my strengths are anymore and just feeling like a failure in a lot of ways in my life. Like sometimes those days are very overwhelming, and I am learning that it's okay to feel those things and to acknowledge it and honor it and say, you know what, I don't want to get out of bed today, and maybe it's okay that I don't today, but I can't make it a habit, because if I do, then I won't be a functioning human being who will be able to learn and grow and better herself. But I don't want to present on here that I've got it all figured out. And that's why I love having these conversations, because we're just showing that we're all humans. We're all figuring life out, and life is full of suffering, but it's also full of joy. And it's what we do with finding that balance and,
and being okay with yourself with it too. I think you brought up two things that I have no shame with right now is one thing that happened in the beginning of the journey, and you might be shocked, but I'll leave that till the end. But the other thing is how I am as a mother with my kids. I have zero shame, first of all, apologizing. If I am snapping too much, or if I'm so tired, or if I need help with something, I have no problem coming and saying, you know what, guys, I'm sorry, this is what's been going on. And it's like, and especially when our kids getting a little older, they get to understand that, hey, I will always be the parent, but I am human too. And I owe this to my dad, because I've lost my mom at a very young age, and my dad, we joke about this all the time. My dad was not built to be that detailed parent at all. He kind of had to jump in when my mom passed, and all of a sudden he discovered, oh my God, there's so many details in raising a kid. I only showed up for talent shows and weekends. And now I'm like a widow at the age of 40 and I'm lost. But he stepped up his game, and I think looking back, the main thing that I've learned from him is that as much as I want to set an example for my kids, as much as I want to parent them, teach them, put them on the right track and invest in all this, but I also want them to know I'm still human. I have my own needs. I have my own things. I have my own flaws, and there's no shame in that.
Yes. And I think that teaches them that they are also human, and that it's okay to have the feelings that they have. And then when they become adults, that they can walk into that going, okay, like we're all human and we're all doing
I got this. I can cry in public. That's no problem.
Yeah, why not?
That's fine. Yeah, no problem. I'm a man and I can cry in public. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's another thing, is that when I started, that was the first thing I was telling you, when I started going public with ZEIN's story, I think I got, I don't want to call it an outlash, but it was more of like they didn't understand. People didn't understand. And I want to say it happened mostly from maybe the Middle Eastern community, like both from back home in Egypt. Like people were not used to speaking out about cancer, and they're not used
Interesting.
to, and they're not used to it's always like such a hush hush thing. And I've seen that trend changing over the years, where now it's a strong thing to talk about it. And you know, women with cancer, they're, you know, proud to show their shaved head, but it's not that common. You know, society is always forcing you how to feel, or telling you what to do, and, you know, don't tell anyone. Or I mean, I don't want to make it sound like it's a stigma or as a stereotype, but I
Yes.
felt that misunderstanding, that why are you sharing these things? Like, what do you benefit from all that? But it
Yeah,
was
you want attention or something. Yeah.
exactly. And it was, and you know, I mean, we've had so many people jump on, like, they want to take advantage of our kids and our stories. But I knew my intention. My intention was, first of all, therapy for me. Super honest. I needed therapy for me. I needed prayers for my son. And then it became an awareness thing. It
Yes.
became, wait a minute, there's so many people out there that are connected with the story, because they wished they would be able to talk. And from them, I got my power. From them, Tamer, my husband, got his power.
Yes.
And it became such a beautiful human act, that whenever we visit Egypt, we are now, and or even here in in the States, or whenever we go on vacations, we're approached by people who recognize us and saying, thank you, you know, because of you, I was able to talk about my son or my
Yes.
parents, or cancer has always been that taboo, and now I have no shame talking about, I shaved my head with my son too.
Yes.
And, you know, Tamer shaved his head for years, since his mom, God bless her soul, was diagnosed, and then ZEIN. So again, it's using the tools that we have for the right reasons and for the right causes, and just remembering that we're all here. Honestly, there shouldn't be space for judgment. It's more of a place of love, and humans being connected to one another.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking about calling this interview series Human Kindness, because I feel like that is exactly what I aim to do when I share, because we are all humankind, right? And we are all kind of doing this thing together, learning and growing and becoming better versions of ourselves, but also suffering along the way, and learning that it's not shameful to connect and share, but also being kind to one another by connecting and sharing, so we don't feel alone, so we don't feel like we're the only ones out there suffering. And I think, I don't know, I think I might name it that, because I really like it. So
I love the name. I love it. I love the name. I think it's time for people to, and this is what I do even on my account. Whenever I get, for the first time, I think the first few times, whenever I wasn't still used to this whole Instagram stories and everything, I was interested when I throw a question, I'm hearing people's stories.
yes.
And I'm getting this human interaction from different stories and different experiences, and it's good and it's refreshing.
And it's
And
teaching you something.
it's teaching us some things, and it's you know, even reminding you of things that you thought you've known but you forgot throughout the way. So I love the name.
Thanks.
I love the idea. Yes, absolutely, absolutely, go for it. 100%.
All right, well, I would like to, before I end every interview now, I'm going to ask a specific question, but before I do that, where can people find you on social media or online? Just so that anybody who's watching who doesn't follow you already can follow you.
Well, it's under my name, so Radwa-Moussa-Youssef, with underscores in between. So I don't know if have I said this in the beginning. So my family name is Musa, and then when I got married to Tamer, you usually, when you move to the States, you carry your husband's last name, and I had like a very strong independent woman moment kind of thing. I'm like, not letting go of my family's name, but I'm also proud to carry my husband's name. So it became Radwa-Moussa-Youssef. This is where they can find me, both Facebook and Instagram, and my website is the same thing too. So I'd love to hear people's story. I'd love to see how can we help and how can we add to that. So thank you. Thank you for having me there today.
I'm so glad to have you. Okay, so I love that story. I have, my stuff is the Lauren Kelley. My middle name is Kelley, and so was Hazel's middle name. And as a kid, I always wanted to be Lauren Kelley. I always wanted to drop my last name for some reason.
Yeah.
And then when Hazel was born and we gave her that name, there was just this weird, incredible connection that happened. And so when I started to build things in her legacy, I felt what better way to honor her and myself by going by Lauren Kelley. So that's why here on Instagram and on Facebook, it's the Lauren Kelley. So
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever told
what happened to Hammersley, but
yeah, I don't think I've ever told anybody that before. So it was Hazel's middle name. It was my middle name, and I've always loved it. So
and
anyway,
it also explains it adds to that one point of finding you as well. I think
yes.
I'll say this from my point of view is I had that struggle, and we self-doubt ourselves a lot. Like we overthink things a lot. I kept thinking, oh, if I'm not just Radwa-Youssef, is this disrespectful to my husband? Or if I'm just Radwa-Moussa, is this like, you know, if I'm letting go of my family's name? Well, in fact, all it takes is that for you to breathe
and just say, this is me.
This is who I am. I'm always going to be Radwa-Moussa, and I'm very proud to have Youssef, so I'm always going to be Radwa-Moussa-Youssef. And for you to say to Lauren Kelley, it's the same thing. There's no shame as long as I'm taking care of all aspects and all buckets in my life. There is no shame for one of them to be happier than the other, you know?
Yes. Yeah. And, you know, I didn't drop the last name on here because I was ashamed of being a Hammersley. It was more I wanted to protect my other children and my family a little bit more, so people didn't know everything about us all the time. Also, there's a fairly popular actress from Canada named Lauren Hammersley. So if you search for Lauren Hammersley, she comes up, and I want to be different than her. So I love
the Lauren Kelley, and I love the story behind it. I didn't know that was Hazel's middle name, so I love it.
It was, and she loved it too. So it just felt right. It just felt right.
No, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Okay, so as we end today, I could go on for hours, and I see a lot of comments here saying this talk was amazing. Thank you so much. So I think everybody else would agree. We could talk for hours, but I want to end the interview. I like to end it on a hopeful note. So I want to know, Radwa-Moussa-Youssef, how do you find hope in your life?
I find hope through faith. Honestly, I think my hope is basically solely based on faith, is that I am always hopeful that God is here, and I don't step a foot in my life. And I know we've joked about this before, because we've had this joke about me being your hipster friend, like the Muslim hipster.
Yes.
But I love knowing that God is with me in every step. I love remembering him in every step. It's not just, and this is what I try to teach my kids, my husband and I, is that faith and religion is not just something that you practice. It's a style of living and a way of life. And in my mind, I find hope in my faith, is that whenever things get really, really, really hard and really difficult, my hope is always that even if God doesn't change it, he's going to get me through it. So I'm never going to sink into anything, and I'm going to go through it with its hardship. But that's my hope, is that I always find it into my faith. I hope that makes sense.
It makes complete sense. And I love that. And I love that about you. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. That's a great question. Thank you.
Oh, thanks. All right. Well, thank you for watching. I'll post this later on in the week. And hopefully you'll join us next Friday at 4 p.m. for the next interview on, I'm going to call it HumanKindness.
I love it. I'm going to be following it all the time. Thank you so much for having me today, Lauren. That was awesome.
Oh, thank you. Maybe we can FaceTime later so we can keep talking, because I love you and I miss you.
I'll call you as soon as we hang up.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you.